Hey, this is Matt Curcio, and I'm the owner of the Dixie Pickers. We asked you guys last week on Facebook and Instagram if you had any questions about medium-duty trucks, and we are going to answer them today.
Question number 1. How does a ride compare to a 3500 dually, both loaded and unloaded?
So the ride is supreme compared to a 3500 dually. You might get a little bit more bouncing when it's unloaded, but loaded, it's a whole different story. So now remember, with most medium-duty trucks, you're going to have air ride suspension, air ride cab, and air ride seats, when usually you don't have any of that in a 3500 dually. So the big difference you're really going to tell is when you're loaded. That camper or horse trailer on the back is going to put the weight that the truck wants and needs, and it's going to drive as smooth as a Cadillac. And we've also had a lot of customers that come out of 3500 dualies and they rave about how their body feels after long trips, because again, you got air ride seats, air ride suspension, air ride cab, when usually the 3500 doesn't have that at all. So long term, the medium duty truck is going to ride a whole lot better than your 3500 dually.
Question number 2. What are the general service interval differences between a typical 1-ton pickup truck and a medium duty truck?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And that's a question that's asked a lot. So usually with your 3500 series trucks, you're going to service them every 5 to 10,000 miles, or whichever comes first. So all the major manufacturers, Cummins, Cat, Mercedes, Detroit, they all rate the motors at 15,000 mile service intervals. So usually for our customers, that's once a year. Sometimes people can push that a little bit more. We set all of our stickers here at the Dixie Pickers at 10,000 miles, because you have to remember the oil drives that whole engine. So the cleaner the cleaner the oil, the more longevity you'll get out of that motor. And again, these are built for medium duty use. So we're talking about 750,000 mile life expectancy, when your dually is probably about 2 to 250,000 mile life expectancy. So again, usually once a year or once every 10 to 15,000 miles on one of our medium duty trucks.
Speaking about the different types of trucks, our third question is, what is the real difference between a SportChassis, a Schwalbe, and other hauler brands? Is there a ranking of good, better, or best type situation?
Yeah, that's also a good question. So everybody calls their truck a SportChassis, even though when it's not. It could be a flatbed, normal truck with just a plain Jane work truck, or it could be the fanciest truck out there. Everybody uses the name SportChassis. But you got to remember, it's a Freightliner M2106. And then it goes to these different conversion companies, which you have SportChassis, you have Schwalbe, you have 2L, you have Summit Hauler, you have all these Laredo, you have all these different conversion companies, but they all start off as M2106s, and then they go to different conversion companies. So who's better, who's best? That's a tough question. That's going to be all based on preference. Our number one seller is SportChassis, because that's the majority that's out there. SportChassis has always has hydraulic brakes. They always have under 19.5 or 19.5 gross vehicle weight rating, because they want it to be legal in every state available, because it's really for RV use or horse trailer use or recreational use. Now, these other conversion companies find their little niche in the market by doing different little things than SportChassis, including like air brakes, glad hands, stuff like that, that SportChassis doesn't use. So again, overall, our number one seller is the SportChassis conversion, because they're the dominant one in the league. But obviously, Schwalbe does a great job, but you're mostly only going to see Schwalbe on a Peterbilt or a Kenworth. They did a very little bit of Freightliners, but mostly Mr. Schwalbe did Peterbilts and Kenworth. Then you got your 2L from our friends Wayland in Poolville, Texas. Does a great job. He did a lot of internationals in the past, and he's done a lot of Freightliners. And then you got our friend Brian from Laredo, same thing. A lot of air brake type trucks, super fancy. They do an awesome job. But they're doing them at a smaller scale than SportChassis. So SportChassis is always going to be our number one seller, always has been our number one seller, because they're the largest by far.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much, and we look forward to the next time we talk about trucks.
Hey, thank you, everybody.